We are in the middle of the biggest war our republic has ever been in, and my rivals in the Senate care more about power than the prosperity of our beloved city. I was unjustly dismissed from command over the Roman armies and replaced by the young Scipio, who instead of marching south to relieve a battered Legio II Fretensis in Sicily, opted to embark on a daring offensive into Hispania. However, some of my family members still retain control over their armies and fleets, and while on the surface it may seem as though I have lost control over these forces, I am still the leader of the gens Julii, and so I covertly instructed them to stay put in Sicily and Magna Graecia. If we can't invade Africa, the least we can do is protect our gains in the First Punic War once Legio I Italica under Scipio is annihilated in Hispania. In the summer of 262 BC, our spies in Syracuse returned to Rome with troubling news. A new and detrimental political alliance was in the works, for Syracuse, wary of the Latinization of Sicily, was planning to broker a peace with the Carthaginians and turn their backs on us, cutting us off from our holdings in Sicily. Thankfully, before this could come to pass, we managed to preemptively strike them with a pincer attack from Legio II Fretensis and Legio I Augusta, thereby conquering the city and securing the province for Rome. In the autumn of 262 BC, news from Hispania finally reached Rome. Against all odds, Scipio conquered Tarraco and Saguntum and managed to establish a Roman foothold in Hispania. However, he soon found himself surrounded by an overwhelming force of angry Carthaginians. While he was outnumbered 2-1, he still managed to secure a victory, and though some may consider it to be a close and costly victory, I beg to differ. This was nothing short of a strategic masterpiece, far surpassing anything I have ever achieved on the battlefield. His victory completely crushed the Carthaginian defenses in Hispania, leaving the region ripe for conquest. Carthage was now on the verge of losing a major revenue source. In a desperate bid to save their wealthy colony, they not only abandoned Africa but also their hopes of retaking Sicily and made a dash towards Hispania. It seems I was too quick to judge the lad. Come to think of it, he even reminds me of myself in my youth. But now that Carthage has redirected their attention towards Hispania, his defeat is inevitable. Thankfully, unlike the Senate, I care less about power and more for the prosperity of Rome. Even though Scipio is my rival, he has now earned my utmost respect. And so I ordered the armies and fleets under the command of my family members to assist him, leaving only Legio II Fretensis behind to protect Sicily. My only hope is that they can reach him in time before it is too late. We may yet win this war and show the Carthaginians come that unlike them, Rome has fine, strong sons. What is up, my friends, and how's it going? And welcome back to the 6th episode of our Let's Play series as Roma with your fellow comrade Summary. First of all, my apologies for the delay in the release of this episode, as I had tried my hand in some modding and that actually corrupted the recording of the same save game that I was recording, and unfortunately I have to re-record the entire episode, and that set me back about a few days. And anyways, I received a lot of support from the community, and I thank you all for your patience. However, without any further ado, let us hop on to the campaign. And as you can see, in this episode, there will be something quite significant that will happen. And that's precisely what I was trying to do. However, you guys will witness what I have tried to do, and perhaps you will deem it worthy of the wait. However, without any further ado, the first thing we are going to check is, of course, our economy, our provinces, and our politics. That's the top 3 things I like to check at the start of every turn. And as you can see, Latium is doing quite well. We have about 45,000 denarii per turn, and it is winter, so we are making less because of the seasonal effects. However, quick look at our other provinces. Sicilia, formerly Sicilia, now Sicilia, as it is a Roman province. In the previous episode, we managed to conquer Syracuse, which has been renamed into the Roman version. And of course, Sicilia is now our first Roman province, as it was historically as well. It is our food province, and it is generating quite a lot of food. Next up, we can look at Magna Graecia, and this is why I always recommend going through all of your provinces. And you could either click it over here in the next, or you could even press the, the full stop sign or the period sign, depending on which language or which version of English you refer to. And over here, we're going to go ahead and build the what we are going to build is the Municipium, which eventually becomes an outpost that gives not only extra first class and second class population, but also gives a +4 growth. So we can quickly max out the growth rate within the province of Magna Graecia. Next up, we can look at Cisalpina. Okay, what we want to do in Cisalpina is we actually want to upgrade wherever we can the scriptorium. Corsica and Sardinia is looking quite good. Macedonia, as you can see, Macedon and Sparta are at it, pretty much exchanging the settlement of Larissa and fighting it out over here in Thessaly. Meanwhile, in Tarraconensis, we can also upgrade yet another scriptorium, and Saguntum has been renamed from Ars to the Romanized version. Meanwhile, we have Scipio Africanus in charge of Legio I Italica. However, the Carthaginians have redirected their focus towards Hispania in an attempt to rescue their province from Scipio, and we have decided to support Scipio with a Legio for Hispana, as well as we have sent classes 1 Victress to deal with the Carthaginian fleet, and this is a 22 stack fleet, so it is quite decked up. However, we can just simply go ahead and try to attack this fleet, and that will pretty much be the start of this episode. A massive sea battle, and we are going to merge the fleets of... you know what? We might as well just keep the supply ship as well with Classes 2 Italica. Put Classes 2 Italica back into the port of Saguntum. And we are going to start off the episode with a massive naval battle. However, before we go ahead and do that, there is a fourth thing I like to see, and I don't think I mentioned it. It is politics. So let's have a look at our politics real quick. Our political parties are not too loyal, and they're actually on the verge of being disloyal enough to generate a risk for succession. So, or secession, I believe. And so what we are actually going to do over here is we're going to see if we can, since we are playing with, of course, the hard difficulty, we are going to see if we can, do something that would help our loyalty debuff, because in the hard setting we get a -15 due to the difficulty rating. So the way we can offset it is by actually putting up an edict, and all we need is a single edict per political party. So as you can see, the gens Cornelia is in charge of Magna Graecia. Meanwhile, Corsica Sardinia is with the gens Junia, and finally we have the gens Papira, who are in charge of the province of Sicilia. We're going to go into Sicilia, and we are going to change that to get some extra loyalty over here. Meanwhile, we have edicts in both of these provinces, so we are going to go ahead and put up those loyalty edicts so that those factions stay pretty much loyal to us. And I know a lot of you are pretty much hyped up for a civil war. However, I am going to avoid that as much as I can, because I don't think the Romans intentionally got into a civil war. So I mean, if it happens, well and good. However, if it doesn't, then I'm not going to break my neck trying to get into a civil war. However, without any further ado, let us hop into the first massive naval battle that I have ever played, and hopefully we will come up on top of this battle. Alright, welcome to the first massive naval battle. We are going to face off against the Carthaginians over here, and we are going to start the battle, select all of our ships, and move them forward to the Carthaginians. And over here we are going to quickly issue our entire fleet to ram what's directly in front of them. And the easier way is to actually just select the flag. I see a lot of players actually try to select the ship, and if you select the flag, it's a bigger target. So Makes it a lot easier actually. And we really need to hurry up over here. And just a quick look. Okay. Some of those ships have been taken out. These ships need to be hit again. Meanwhile, this ship has not been taken out. Go ahead, keep hitting. Left flank looks good. And over here we're going to go once again. We have some reserve ships, so let's go ahead, use our reserve ships. Come on, come on, come on. Get in there. Hurry up. Double time. Double time it. Come on, keep double timing it. We managed to rescue the ship. Just about managed to rescue the ship. Meanwhile, we can send our reserve ships to deal with that ship. Hurry up, hit this ship. Double time it as well. And we can continue the battle, see whichever ships we can manage to get out of the fight. However, it's not going to be that easy. These ships are going to try to get away. However, double time it real quick. Try to pull these ships behind in an attempt to kind of stop the Carthaginians from escaping. Meanwhile, we have dealt with the ship over here. That ship we are not going to catch. So unfortunately, the Carthaginians might just manage to get away over here. However, they only have 3 ships getting away from us, and we have pretty much won the battle without a single casualty, so that is pretty good. So let's go ahead and end the battle, and I will see you all in the campaign. Alright, and with that we have a decisive victory. Carthage just managed to escape with about 3 ships. We are going to go ahead and enslave all the captives. That's a nice amount of denarii. We get 6,000 from doing so. With that, the Carthaginians have retreated. Meanwhile, what we can do over here is we can transfer over the ships that we need to transfer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Get 1 ship over here. And what I want to do is I want to make this into a 20 stack. So 1, 2, 3. And they should be a 20 stack now. And we can meanwhile retreat classes 1 victorious back towards Aleria, so that we can recruit another 20 stack of ships. However, with that we're going to have a quick look at all of our provinces once again, since we have a little bit of money. And what I really want to do is I want to build an auxiliary camp and also a temple over here to help with that cultural conversion and public order, although public order isn't that big of an issue over here. With that being said and done, it looks like I can go ahead and end the turn. There's nothing much else to do in this turn, and I will see you all in the future when I am ready to conquer Mastia or Ibosim or Iplacaea or Cartuba, depending on the situation. However, I think what I will be inclined to do is to actually conquer Mastia should the situation arise. Alright, welcome to the future. It's just 1 turn ahead and the army at Mastia has moved out. So we are going to go ahead and claim the settlement of Mastia for ourselves. Should be quite an easy auto-resolve over here. And can do is move Legio for Hispania closer. And just go ahead and auto-resolve it over here. And we can go ahead and loot the settlement of Mastia. Meanwhile, we want to dismantle all the buildings for that incredibly quick, with the exception of course of this port, for that quick garrison. And that's great. We have managed to conquer Mastia, and the idea would be to march down south over here. Meanwhile, this army can technically reach Saguntum, so we have to watch out for that. However, we do have a respectable sized fleet over there. And speaking of fleets, we do want to build up classes 1 victorious, so let's go ahead, build it up to that 20 stack that we desire. And we cannot recruit any more of those ships. And meanwhile, Legio 1 Augusta is slowly going to make its way towards Cisalpine Gaul, and maybe perhaps we might even bring them into Hispania if we can afford to do so. Meanwhile, a quick look of our other provinces. Everything seems to be fine, and we can also look at our politics. And as you can see, all of our rival parties are quite loyal towards us thanks to our edict. As you can see, it says over there 15 plus 15 from provincial initiatives, and because of that we are getting positive loyalty from all of these characters. However, speaking of characters, let's see if we can level up any characters to get some further loyalty, and with that we can go ahead, I guess, and end the turn. Meanwhile, our faction leader is just chilling back in Roma. Nothing much to do. He has been unjustly removed as commander of the Roman armies. But we could engage in some politics over here. And we can't really assassinate any of our characters. The objective would be to get rid of the children of our adopted characters, because we don't want our family tree to grow way out of control. Because should they do that, then we could find ourselves in a bit of a pickle. Because we don't want to increase our influence in the Senate, because as a republic, the higher our influence in the Senate, the more we start to get debuffs. As you can see over here, we are pretty much in the sweet spot, just about in the sweet spot, 49. The minute that hits 50, we will be overly influential, which doesn't give us a lot of debuffs, with the exception of course, the political incident occurrence. However, you know, we can deal with that. However, that being said and done, we can kind of go ahead and end the turn. Just have a quick look over here. See if we can send this character on a vacation. We can do that. We have improved the... I believe we have improved the authority as well as the zeal of this character. Let's just see if we can give her any, you know, household traits that would improve her gravitas as well. That is quite important, and we have one over here. Another one over here actually isn't too shabby. It is going to give her an extra bit of cunning. However, we don't mind that because we have a good deal of authority as well as, of course, zeal. So we can easily level up this character without any concern. Meanwhile, we can look at our least loyal party, and that is going to be the gens Pepira, and see if we can improve the public order in any of the provinces. And we can improve the public order in Hispania, so that's great. And with that, I am going to go ahead and end the turn, and see you all in the future when we are ready to conquer yet another Carthaginian settlement. Right, welcome to the next turn. Family annals, okay, some of our characters have leveled up, so let's quickly have a look. We have a spy down over here in the south. We want to get that increased success chance, which is the most important thing a spy or an agent can have. Meanwhile, we can quickly look at economy. Latium is still at 44,000 denarii per turn. We are waiting for the settlement to be, you know, to reach that growth rate of 4 so that we can expand Ariminum, get a couple of these Temple of Mercury, as they do give a 10% wealth from all sources, and of course at level 4 they do give 20 wealth, so that actually stacks up in the whole province. Meanwhile, Legio 1 Augusta is looking quite good. You can just deploy him over here for one turn, see how that goes, and after that we can get ready to march him towards Hispania. However, speaking of Hispania, we do have a Legio 4 Hispana almost reaching Saguntum, so we can put him up in Saguntum. Quick look at the province of Hispana. As you can see, we have our garrison sort of kind of replenished over there. We are going to upgrade that into a you know, into a docks, so that we can recruit more ships if we need to over here in the west. Go ahead, build an aqueduct, another scriptorium, and of course a temple. Meanwhile, the army that was over here in the previous turn have moved further westwards. And as you can see, we have 2 stacks of Carthaginian armies over here. So taking out Cortuba would actually be quite difficult. However, what we can do for now is we can actually attack Ibosum. And I might be actually inclined to do that. So let's go ahead, just attack the settlement and get on land. And it's a very good auto-resolve. So let's just go ahead, auto-resolve that. once again just loot the settlement and quickly dismantle the buildings we don't need. Over here we are going to repair that one. Go ahead and dismantle these buildings as well. We do not require them. And for now, just to protect the settlement of Mastia, we can dock classes to Italica over there. However, when we talk about classes to Italica, we do remember we have yet another fleet that needs to be leveled or completely recruited up to that 20 stack. I will eventually have 41 stack fleets. However, for now, it seems that 20 stacks is more than what I require. Meanwhile, we can also have a quick look at our provinces. We want to build a municipium in Magna Graecia that will give us extra growth rate and extra first and second class population, since Magna Graecia is going to be a military recruitment province. And let's go ahead and build up the Roman barracks, because eventually when we hit our Marian reforms, we want to be able to access our Roman legionaries. Quick look at our other provinces. Everything seems to be quite fine for now. I'm quite happy with the way things are. And we can have another look at politics, and as you can see, politics wise we are doing really good for ourselves. We can go ahead and get a marriage done over there. Meanwhile, we can engage in some extra political actions. Go ahead, improve the zeal of our true blood daughter, as well as we can improve authority by doing her a favor, sending this character Quinctia on a vacation to improve her cunning. And with that, you can see that she is slowly leveling up as a character. And that's quite good. Meanwhile, we can have a look and see if we can... The province of Sicilia is losing some public order, so we can perhaps send this character to improve the public order over there. And that's bound to happen because the gens Papira are in control of Sicilia, and we have the edict that will actually improve their loyalty, however, at the cost of public order. And if we actually remove that edict, they will be at -2 loyalty, which isn't too bad. However, as we progress through the game, that will get a lot worse. However, just a quick look at our, our divisions of our provinces based on our parties, and it's pretty much the same, so we can stick with the same edicts. However, that being said and done, it looks like we have conquered pretty much the entirety of the eastern coast of Hispania. I wouldn't count Gadir. Gadir is pretty much part of the western coast as it falls behind the Pillar of Hercules. And eventually Carthage just has 3 settlements remaining in Hispania. So we have the majority of the Carthaginian settlements. We have 4 versus their 3. And the idea would be to push out westwards if we can, conquering Iplacea, Cartuba, as well as Gadir. And of course, meanwhile, I will also try my level best to launch naval invasions of Iol, as well as Siga, as it will be easy to attack Iol from Ibosum. It will take me just 1 turn to reach that settlement, and a couple of turns to reach back to Mastia. Meanwhile, an army from Mastia can move towards Siga and pretty much return back to Mastia in about 2 to 3 turns. And what we will be doing is, since we are using the Timbe trade region submod, we will be using this to sell the province of Iol to the Numidians, since they have been loyal to us during this war and have kind of broken off their agreements with the Carthaginians. So we want a strong Numidia in order to counter the Carthaginians. However, that being said and done, I think it is pretty much going to be quite easy now, because we can move our army back from Ibosum into Mastia, and then we will have 2 full stacks to deal with the Carthaginians over here in Hispania. And I don't think the Carthaginians will be able to do anything pretty much to stop us from winning this Second Punic War.
Hannibal, my son, stand before the gods and swear, from this day until your last, that you will always be an enemy of Rome.
Alright, so just when we thought that it would be an easy Second Punic War, Hannibal has spawned with his army. It is a magnificent army, and this is what I have been trying to mod into the game. Trying to amend the realistic expansion submod to include the spawn of Hannibal, and originally they spawned somewhere down south over here in Beneventum, and it is only a 20 stack and not with elite units. However, what I have done is I have gone ahead and changed it to a 41 stack full because we are playing also with 41 stack, and of course I have also gotten for them more elite troops, and you can't see all of them. However, we are going to have to deal with Hannibal and pretty much fight a decisive battle. If we lose this first battle in Cisalpina, we don't have any armies in the Italian peninsula, and we pretty much only have to move Legio II Fretenses, thereby leaving Sicilia undefended. Thankfully, we do have a fleet that can move south in case we need to move up Legio II Fretensis to counter Hannibal, but in the meantime he will be able to do a lot of damage in northern Italia, so we have to kind of win this first engagement with him. However, before we can go ahead and do that, let's have a quick look of what's going on in the province of Hispania itself. And as you can see, Ibosum has got its garrison up, so we are going to go ahead and build up that settlement. We can get a Field of Mars as well as another temple over here. Meanwhile, it seems like, we have another Carthaginian army that is making its way towards Carthago Nova. We have gone ahead and renamed the settlement into Carthago Nova, and we cannot really risk it over here. I think the only thing we can do is to kind of try and dissuade him. Meanwhile, the other army, I have no idea where he is. He's moved somewhere south towards Gadir. The only way we can kind of deal with this army is not on any defensive formation. We pretty much have perhaps to move both Scipio Africanus up north, and even though he's in the port, he's not actually able to make a move. So this is rather dangerous over here because we can't really defend both the settlements. Carthago Nova is a slightly... but we kind of have to fight this battle and win or lose. It is only a 30 stack, so our 41 stack should actually do quite well against it. Let's actually get our army out over here and try to deal with this army. Meanwhile, we can get, for now, ideally we want the Roman Balearic Slingers, which I believe we should have access to once we have built up this auxiliary camp. However, we cannot get them for now, so we will just go ahead and simply hire the regular mercenary Balearic Slingers. And with that, let's see if we can attack this army. We can just auto-resolve this because I don't want to spend too much time in this episode having to fight several armies. It's not a very favorable auto-resolve, however, I will take that. And we could pursue them deeper into Iplacaea. Go ahead, make sure we wipe out that army. And I'm happy with that. Enslave all the captives. Legio II Hispana has leveled up. So we're going to move back into the province of Carthago Nova. Go ahead and get the abilities that will improve the army traditions. Meanwhile, a quick look of the army traditions we have over here. Legio I Italica is our best legion. We need to get the accomplished skirmishers as well by the looks of it. Let's go ahead and do that. And yep, with that we are good. And I'm not sure where the other army is, so I'm not going to put these guys on that patrol stance. And if I put them on patrol stance, they will get more replenishment. About 26. However, if I leave them on normal stance, they will have a less replenishment at 23. So just for an extra 3 cavalry, I'm not going to risk being ambushed. However, we're going to have to wait for the next turn to be able to leave Ibosum and perhaps move into Carthago Nova by the looks of it, because Legio IV Hispana has taken quite a lot of casualties, so we are going to have to move them back towards Saguntum to replenish. So the only option for Legio 1 Italica is to move back towards Carthago Nova. However, that being said and done, it seems we are pretty much done securing Hispania for now. Quick look at all our provinces before we go ahead and fight that decisive battle against Hannibal Barca, who is leading, of course, Dido's faithful. And hopefully we will be able to defeat him, because if we don't, then we are in some serious trouble. That being said and done, let's quickly also engage in some politics. We have a character over here who can improve the zeal of Severa, as well as we can improve her authority, and send the character on a legion time to get that final level of cunning. Meanwhile, things are looking quite good across the board. We have a character who is the son of an adopted character, so we definitely want to get rid of him. So see if we can assassinate. We can't assassinate him because we didn't assassinate him when we could have. And fortunately, you have to assassinate them in the very first turn they come of age, otherwise it is going to be difficult to do so. However, over here in the north, this is what we have been finally waiting for, the decisive battle against Hannibal. And what we are going to do, we are going to replace him with, of course, Lucius Julius Libo, our faction, or our family leader rather. And we are going to engage Hannibal himself and hopefully defeat him in battle. And we do have the advantage because we have our garrison that is coming out to support us. We could auto-resolve this. But as you can see, it is a superior army and I don't really want to auto-resolve this. I want to fight it out, however, I'm not going to fight it out because he is in a fortified position, and by the looks of it, he will be on a hill as well. So I am actually just simply going to retreat over here and perhaps just, you know, go into that ambush stance and hope for Hannibal to attack the settlement of Mediolanum. And if he does that, we should be able to intercept him, most likely with the end turn. However, with that, it looks like I am done with this turn, so I'm going to go ahead and end the turn, and I will see you hopefully when Hannibal attacks me during the end turn. Alright, so by the looks of it, it seems like Hannibal has gone for besieging Mediolanum. So that seems to be good, and perhaps in the next turn we can attack him. Alright, welcome to the next turn. Mediolanum is under siege, which is good for us. Our ambush has failed, and Carthage and the Masaesli kind of declared peace, which means the Masaesli are no longer a client state of Carthage. So what we could do is create a non-aggression with them, maybe even a defensive alliance. They want that for a little bit of money. That's pretty good for us actually. And great. Okay, with that we do have a defensive alliance now with the Masaesli, so that's good. Meanwhile, over here, army, can they get back? Yes, these guys can get back towards Saguntum. However, these guys can... We're gonna stay put for just another turn over here so that... Right, we can just move Legio for Hispana back towards Saguntum so that they can replenish, and I don't think any Carthaginian army will be able to catch up to me. You have a spy over here who's keeping a track of everything. Meanwhile, the garrison at Ibosum is pretty strong enough to deal with any threat from the sea. We don't have any armies over here. We might have an army in this valley, so we need to check that out. Just make sure that there's nothing going on over there. And since there's nothing going on over there, what we can do is we can actually send Scipio. And actually send Scipio back to Saguntum. And we can actually send him over there a little bit closer towards Tarraco. And we can also put him on that patrol stance for that extra replenishment. Meanwhile, the Aravaci, they're pretty friendly with us, so that is pretty good for now. And what we want to do is we want our fleet to move towards Ibosum to protect it, because Ibosum has a lower or weaker garrison than Carthago Nova. it's pretty much even, so it doesn't matter which way. But I don't think Carthage has any significant fleet that can threaten either of the settlements. Meanwhile, Classes 1 Victress has leveled up, so let's go ahead and get some of those abilities that will improve. And I'm not entirely sure if the campaign range movement will affect fleets. However, yes, it seems like it has affected fleets, because as you can see over here, it's slightly dropped. So let's get that campaign range for fleets, because campaign range for fleets is extremely powerful. So definitely we want to prioritize on that. Meanwhile, our fleet over here, it looks like they can upgrade their ship hulls. So let's go ahead and get that. 1440 ship health is pretty respectable, especially in the early game like we are right now. And quick look at our politics. Everything seems to be fine for now. And of course, we can also just improve some of the abilities of our characters over here. Go ahead, praise her for that extra zeal, as well as do her a favor for that authority. And now we can send her on a vacation to improve her cunning. So we have two characters that have a 10-10-10, which means pretty much soon enough we can engage in some politics. However, for now it doesn't look like we need to engage in any politics, because all of our rival party members are quite good towards us. However, let's have a look at what's going up here in the north. And of course, Hannibal is attacking Mediolanum, and we kind of need to take this fight right now. It is going to be winter, and a battle in the winter. So what are we going to do is we are going to attack him, and I don't think he will retreat. And we are going to select the control large, or click off the control large army, do a quick save over here, hop into the battle. Actually, I'm going to leave, I think I should leave the control large army on, because I'm not sure how that kind of plays into the 41 stack armies. And yeah, I will see you all in the battle, and the battle for pretty much Cisalpine Gaul. Alright, welcome to the battle. We are going to quickly deploy over here, select our general into group 1. Group 2, we're going to divide it so that we have a bunch of elites as well as 2 Cretan archers. And group 3 is of course going to be our Equites Extraordinary. Group 4 will be our Latin Equites. Meanwhile, group 5 will be our Hastati line. Go ahead, put up group 5 over there. Group 6 is going to be our Principes, and we're going to put them up behind. And the reason I actually click each of these units individually is because I'm holding down the control key and selecting units so that they group up in that exact same specific order that I want them to group up in. Meanwhile, we are going to change up the third formation, and the reason being is we actually want the third line to be a little bit smaller, and I will explain that in a bit. So let's go ahead, put our turn line up over there. Meanwhile, we can position our Pedites Extraordinary. Sorry, let's go ahead, put the Pedites over there. Okay, perfect. And the Pedites on the right flank over there. I don't think we really need to do that for now, so let's just move them like so. Okay, perfect. Now the idea over here is to quickly form up our triple S axes, and the way we're going to do that is select all of our units. Simple. Okay, hold down the control key and tap on the back thing. This will create a gap, and then we just slightly align them up front, and as you can see, triple S axis forms up over there quite nicely. This is an easier way I figured out to do it. Plus it keeps my formation a little bit compact. Then you want to select your second line and move it slightly to the left so that you have that checkerboard quincunx formation. Now we are going to put our Pedites on the left and right flanks, and the reason being is because we are up against Carthaginian Atlas elephants. As you can see all the way over here, these are Atlas elephants. They are 36 men strong, which mean they are significantly better than the usual scripted elephants, and I've done that intentionally because I want to have an epic battle. As you can see, our front line is pretty narrow in comparison to the Carthaginian front line, but I will show you how we basically deal with that over here in this battle. And this is actually going to be the first battle where we are actually on the defensive, so you have to be a little bit careful. I mean, the enemy can be a little bit more aggressive, I think. And of course, it's also going to be our first battle in which we are facing a full 41 stack army. Meanwhile, our missile units on the left and right flanks, Group 2 and Group 10, are, placed on those flanks because they are going to help our cavalry units, which are inferior to the Carthaginian cavalry units. The Carthaginians, I have given them those very heavy shock Iberian cavalry, as you can see over here. Insane 49 armor, and they're very offensively oriented. But we can hope that we fare well against the Carthaginian army. It's not going to be an easy battle, I can guarantee you that. But we have pretty much no choice. And we kind of have to face the Carthaginians over here. And the idea is to kind of defeat them as decisively as we can. That being said, we want to move back our line of Principes as well as Triarii slightly bit more back, so they have a bit of maneuverability. And without any further ado, spent a long time explaining the formation. Let's go ahead and start the battle. Okay, very quickly we're going to move up our cavalry over here. Try to entice the... Oh, it seems we are on the offensive, so that's pretty good. Let's actually get our cavalry to see if they can entice the enemy elephants to come closer to our front lines. And what we are going to do is we're going to hit Control A, deselect the cavalry by holding down that control key, and move up our entire front line. Meanwhile, while our front line is moving really slow, we are going to quick pause over here and I'm going to show you the tactical map. So what's exactly happening over here is the idea is to, kind of bait the elephant units to charge us back. And meanwhile, our main flank is, of course, we have our triplice axes in the center, as you can see over here. And on either flanks, we have Edites, which are spear units that can hold their own against elephant units, and behind them we have our Velites and Cretan archers. So we are going to lure the enemy elephants back towards our flanks, which are more than well equipped to deal with the elephants. And if we can take out the Carthaginian elephants, then we pretty much neutralize or take away the advantage that they actually have in this battle. However, it's not going to be long before these elephants actually charge towards us, so we're going to have to move our troops a little bit closer as quickly as possible. As you can see, our left and right flanks have started to make their maneuvers. It's looking really beautiful over here. And I actually wonder, why is there no particle effects? I just want to have a quick look at my graphics over here. Okay, it seems to be fine. And even my brightness and gamma settings also seem to be fine. But maybe it's because it is winter and I'm not really... And as you can see, enough babbling. Elephant units over there on the left flank have started to take the bait. So we are going to quickly move out of there. And ideally, we want the elephant unit, our cavalry units, to have some sort of javelins so that they can deal with the elephant units in the future. But during the early phase of our republic, our cavalry is pretty underwhelming, and it's pretty good that we have access to Socii cavalry or Equites Extraordinary, because without them our cavalry would absolutely be trash. So alright, over here you can see the elephants are nearly taking the bait. They are moving into the trap. We are going to go ahead and yes, wonderful. Meanwhile, on the right flank the elephants have disengaged. Going to keep moving up. See some movements happening over here with the entire left flank. Quickly get our Edites Extraordinary to kind of intercept the elephants. It looks like they want to charge into the flanks of this Hastati unit, and that won't be good. And as you can see, the elephants already taking some significant damage. Hopefully they will panic over here. And yes, we have gotten them. Oh, meanwhile on the right flank, our Equite is nearly getting caught out. Get out of that formation really quickly. Move fast. Get out over there. Ooh, that was close. Meanwhile, the elephants on the left flank are all but done. And cavalry on the right flank just managed to get out of there. Just managed to get out of there. So we are going to charge these pedites into the elephants. Elephants on the right flank are taking some casualties. And with that being said and done, let's go ahead and form up our left flank properly. Wonderful. Catch up these elephants, move our cavalry further behind. Wonderful. These elephants are losing decisively. They might just decide to turn into our missile units. However, we can hope that isn't the case. Meanwhile, just readjust our left flank real quick. And while I do that, I actually want to see what's going on over there on the right flank. And just as predicted, they are going to try to turn around. Meanwhile, Hannibal himself over here is trying to charge to the rescue. He just makes his appearance known. Can't actually see him. Pretty sure he should be there somewhere. And there he is. Hannibal himself charges into the battle to save what he considers to be his assets. Historically, Hannibal did not have access to his elephants. And we are pretty much going to ensure that history repeats itself. Meanwhile, the right flank elephants have completely retreated. So we are going to make sure that Hannibal over here meets his certain doom. And of course, we are just piling it on. We're doing really a good job over here. Meanwhile, the enemy has slowly marched up towards us, and we can move our missile units back into position. Get our equites or our pedites extraordinary on the right flank back into position once again. Move up our cavalry away from everything. And now the next major threat is of course the enemy cavalry. We have to watch out for them. They are going to be superior to us. But that being said and done, I think we are ready to march up our army and finally engage the Carthaginians. Let's quickly get up our army into position. Make sure that all of our principes can throw their javelins and engage the enemy. Meanwhile, over here on the right flank, we have Libyan swordsmen. They're not going to be that good. In the center, of course, we have the medium spear infantry. They are pretty good. On the left flank, rather, they have all their phalanx units, so we kind of have to watch out for that. Meanwhile, the archers, everyone is sort of almost kind of in position. I just want to move slightly ahead once again, and I want to protect my left flank or my right flank over here from being surrounded by cavalry units. So just quickly move my triarii as well in an anticipation of what's going on over there. And hopefully my hastati will toss their javelins in real quickly, get my pedites out and spread them about as quickly as we can. Hastati are nearly done using all of their ammunition. However, there isn't enough time left. We are going to quickly deploy into our defensive formation, which makes our hastati a lot more tanky. And we have our standard gaps over here. And the real danger is of course going to be their Numidian cavalry as well. So I do want to put all of my Cretan archers, because they are going to be key against the Numidians. I want to put my Cretan archers on fire at will off. And just kind of preserve them as best as I can. Preserve their ammunition as best as I can. Meanwhile, the Soki on the left flank, we are going to try to see if we can entice the cavalry to engage us.
We have discovered the enemy's hidden units.
Alright, so things are looking pretty good, and I can see a bunch of Numidians. In fact, all 4 Numidians are on that right flank. So let's just move up all our archers onto the right flank, because Numidian cavalry is going to be quite difficult to deal with. Meanwhile, over here, we want to split up our horse units as best as we can. Actually, move 2 horse units here, move 1 over here, 1 over here. The idea is we're going to charge each of these units individually and then use the other 2 units to kind of flank around. Meanwhile, over here on the right flank, these pedites are taking a bit of extra damage, but what we can do, I do see an opening over here with just a bunch of Balearic slingers. So I definitely want to capitalize on that. Meanwhile, move our cavalry up forward. Keep moving this unit over there. This unit can charge over here. Let's move our cavalry behind, which is fantastic. This cavalry has taken the bait, so we can charge into the sides of that cavalry. And we'll have a quick look of what's going on the right flank. We want to save our Pedites units over here. Quickly, the left flank looks quite good. So let's just charge all of these units into that cavalry unit. Left flank, quick, double tap on that 4 number so that we can quickly look at our left flank. Quickly get out over there. And we want our Triarii to kind of engage here as well. Move our cavalry, keep moving our cavalry, get out of combat. Keep hitting that missile unit. Don't want the Balearic slingers to get an advantage over us. And the cavalry on the far left is taking some significant amount of damage. Meanwhile, our cavalry has negated the Balearic slinger advantage. We're going to keep just spam clicking all the different slinger units that we can. Quick look at our Hastati. They're looking to be quite fine. They're still fresh. And that's pretty much good news for us.
We have discovered the enemy's hidden
Meanwhile, the main front line over here is breaking. So we can push up our Pedites to engage the next set of units. Move back our cavalry. Quick look of what's going on that left flank. Our cavalry unit has dealt with that cavalry unit, and we are going to charge into the backs of this unit over here. And this unit was kind of wavering, so we might be able to deal with them. Meanwhile, just move our Principes a little bit. Move back our cavalry. And move our cavalry over here. Quick look of the cavalry on that flank. And this cavalry unit is charging, which is good news. We can get these couple of units over here. Quickly look over here, move our cavalry on the 4th flank around, and this is where our Cretan archers are going to be quite crucial in dealing with this Numidian cavalry. Quickly also engage our Triarii in melee. Move our cavalry out of the engagement. Wonderful. While these units have kind of completely surrounded, our Hastati looking quite good. We can charge our left flank cavalry into the backs over there. Okay, wonderful. And this is the problem. Over here, we're going to have to move our general to protect our Cretan archers, or else they are not going to fare so well. Let's see if any of our Triarii can get over there. Move our general to hit that unit. Meanwhile, the cavalry over here, group 4, go ahead. I need you to charge over here. Help that unit out. Okay, this unit has started to retreat. Our general can push up. Have a quick look of what's going on over there. Yeah, we have a bunch of phalanx units making a run towards our cavalry units. So let's just pull our cavalry units out of there. It's always risky to pull your cavalry units out of a cavalry fight. However, we don't have much of a choice. And over here, this unit might be in trouble, which means it is time to inspire our entire army. Move our cavalry away. Start charging over there. Cavalry has managed to move out quite safely. We can charge once again over there. Double tap on 4. And we have a bunch of velites as well. We can get them into the fighting. Okay, wonderful. Hopefully our cavalry can deal with all of these units. Go ahead, charge over here. This unit has done, so they can kind of try to get rid of that unit. These couple of units are also done, so get into that narrow formation, move forward. Start to flank units. This cavalry unit over here, general's doing quite well. Meanwhile, this unit can support. Cretan archers, come on. Keep firing over here. Toggle on that fire at will, and you are gonna focus on, of course, these guys. Meanwhile, quick double tap on 3 to see what's going on over here. We've dealt with that cav unit. Over here, however, we have a bunch of phalanx units that we'll have to deal with. However, luckily for us, there is a gap over here that we can exploit. And actually, let's go ahead and exploit it with this unit. Get into that narrow formation. Wonderful stuff. We can get all of our cavalry out over here, start firing. Meanwhile, a narrow formation has done well over here. Get the cavalry out. Numidian cavalry, hopefully you take a bunch of damage. Meanwhile, our general can move around. And if we can kind of move our cavalry as far as we can behind, get our other cavalry on the left flank to charge into the rear of these phalanx units. Get all of these units out as well. Everything looks to be quite fine except with our right cavalry taking a bit of damage. Charge into the Numidians. Go ahead. Grecian archers start firing at this unit. Meanwhile, Velites start firing over there. General can charge over here and begin to inspire. Meanwhile, double tap on 3 and start to flank this unit. Come over here. Move these cavalry units over here. Go into that narrow formation. Come all the way forward. You can pretty much form up over here. Principes can also come. We have pretty much blown a massive circle into the enemy's center. So go ahead, just charge over there. You two charge here. You charge here. You charge here. Charge here. You can form up over there. And as you can see, this unit has managed to maneuver around. That's good. Meanwhile, we can bring yet another unit around. A couple of these units can charge into the backs of those units. General has done quite well. Go ahead, inspire. Ooh, we have a cavalry unit attacking some of our Grecian archers. However, we have a bunch of Triarii that can run up to him. We are also going to commit our general to attack. Meanwhile, this unit has done, so we can charge into the backs over here. Pull our cavalry behind for a second charge. Go ahead, keep charging. And quickly move up our cavalry. Okay, wonderful. Cavalry number 3 is also doing quite well. Quickly adjust the formation and charge over here. And take both of these units out. Both of our Pedites out of the combat. And get our cavalry to once again charge over there in the center. Hopefully we will break the unit for now. And meanwhile, group 4, we need to charge into the backs over there. General can go ahead, charge at that cavalry unit. Okay, this unit is losing decisively and should break quite quickly. Here we also have pretty much all that's left. All that remains is the enemy left flank. And of course we have a couple of units all the way over there that haven't even engaged in the battle so far. And as far as the battle is concerned, we're looking quite good. I mean, our Pedites and Triarii did manage to take a little bit of damage. And we haven't even used our entire army to deal with the Carthaginians over here. And pretty much the Carthaginians are quite shaken and exhausted. So they're not going to be able to do much against our own troops. Move these guys behind again. Move these guys behind. Get our cavalry over here to kind of... Now, what we need to do... Okay, keep engaging these units. The left flank is completely gone. And that's good news. Meanwhile, we can move our general over here to the... the right flank is completely gone. That is good news. So we can move our general onto that left flank. Meanwhile, we have a cavalry unit over here that I would very much like to charge into the backs of these hoplites. However, these hoplites kind of engaged over here. And this unit is losing slightly, so let's actually reinforce them with a Principe unit. Go ahead, reinforce over there. Defensive formation, get out of defensive formation. And now this hoplite unit is trying to get engaged, which is good news, which means we can charge into the back of hoplite units. For those of you who have seen my Spartan army guide, there's no longer an expert charge defense. These hoplite units should pretty much take a significant amount of damage from the charge. And of course, it's not the best charge. I charged a huge blob of cavalry units into the back over there. However, we are just going to ham-fist it over here. Get our general into the fray, inspire everyone. Move our cavalry into the left flank back towards these units. These units have turned about, so we are going to once again charge into their backs. And once we do that, we are going to disengage from this side. And this is the way you kind of deal with hoplite units as Roman army. And as you can see, they're already kind of wavering, because they're gonna have to keep moving in order to turn about. And while they do that, we can charge back into there. And these hoplite units didn't even get action and are completely retreating. And with that, we have won the battle. So I will see you all in the campaign. So with that, we have defeated Hannibal and his army, and we have managed to even kill the general. It does say a close victory, however, in my opinion, it's a decisive victory. I mean, I could have minimized my casualties a bit further, but I decided to let the Hastati fight it out, thereby preserving my Principes. Ideally, this should mean, you know, something worthwhile in reality. However, in the game, Hastati and Principes share the same population class, so it doesn't really matter. And I would recommend for you to replace your Hastati once they get a little bit tired with your fresh Principes or Principes. Meanwhile, our Triarii did manage to take some casualties, so did our Latin cavalry, but just take a look at the stats of the Carthaginian army. The incredibly elite units did no casualties whatsoever, inflicted no casualties whatsoever. Hannibal himself just killed 1. Elephants over here killed 4. These guys killed nothing, including their sacred band. And of course, if you look at their super elite cavalry, which was in fact better than our own cavalry, they managed to kill a combined of less than 30. And of course, if you see their phalanx units as well, so many of them underperformed. I'm only surprised at the level of underperformance of this Carthaginian army. However, we are going to go ahead and enslave all of these Carthaginian captives. He is going to retreat a little bit further away from us, and as you can see, we haven't lost a single unit. We have quite good replenishment rate. We could get rid of this Carthaginian army, and should be easy to do so. Perhaps the auto-resolve will be quite favorable, so let's go ahead, have a look, and see if that auto-resolve is favorable, because I don't want to lose a single unit in an auto-resolve. And with that, we give a kick to the nuts of Dido's faithful. Down goes the threat in Cisalpine Gaul. It was a decisive victory, as we hoped for. Continue to enslave the Carthaginians. Meanwhile, a Legio III Augusta has also leveled up as far as army traditions is concerned. We are going to go ahead, select this, and I believe another thing we need to select. Once again, they have changed the ancillaries. Q Sertorius has changed it once again, so I kind of have to cross-check what I need to get in order to... I want to get Legio Roma Invicta, which gives you know, an increased replenishment rate as well as the army upkeep cost reduction. And I actually think it doesn't come from the campaign movement anymore, but rather it comes from the Keepers of the Peace. So definitely want to go ahead and get the Keepers of the Peace, so that in the next we can get that Roma Legio. And it seems we can't really get anything next, so guess we are going to get the Frontier Garrison as well. With that, we can move back towards Mediolanum to get that maximum replenishment per turn. As you can see, it will just take us 1 turn to replenish most of our units, 2 turns to replenish our most depleted unit, 3 turns for our Hastati or our Triarii over here. And I would say this has been quite a successful and eventful episode myself. We managed to, you know, spawn Hannibal where we wanted him to. However, we are not going to. Historically, Hannibal did quite a lot of damage, managed to pretty much win all of his battles, come down south over here, and he didn't have the army that would be required to lay siege to Rome. And if he did, then perhaps the Carthaginians could have won that Second Punic War. But because Hannibal was unable to do so, the Romans had a general, his name kind of escapes me for now, but what he did was pretty much resort to a sort of a scorched earth tactic where he denied Hannibal from a pitched battle. However, his rivals in the Senate were against him, and they pretty much you know, amassed a massive Roman legion to attack Hannibal in the Battle of Cannae, thereby gifting Hannibal his military masterpiece at Cannae. And eventually what happened was Hannibal was at a stalemate in Italia, and his brother Hasdrubal, after finally managing to leave Iberia, managed to reach Italy in order to, to reinforce his brother's armies. However, he was defeated at a battle, which name also escapes me, and he was killed, and the Romans pretty much lobbed his head into the camp, or catapulted his head into the camp of Hannibal, which pretty much, shattered Hannibal's resolve by the looks of it. I don't know how far that is true. Of course, there are going to be a lot of fabrications when it comes to history, but I would say it's pretty gruesome considering that Hannibal was pretty much in his early to late 20s during his entire campaign. He had made a promise to his father to always be an enemy of the Roman state. Again, that could just be fabrication. However, his life pretty much summarizes that he did just that, finally fighting for the Seleucids before taking his own life and dying in obscurity. Carthage wasn't very kind to Hannibal, despite him almost defeating Rome. In my opinion, he wouldn't be able to defeat Rome eventually because he didn't have the capability to turn Rome's allies against Rome, and at the same time didn't have the capability to take out Rome in a siege. Meanwhile, Scipio Africanus was very smart to attack Carthage where Hannibal wasn't present, and eventually defeating Hannibal in Zama, thereby concluding that Second Punic War. So there's a little bit of history for you guys. I may have gotten some of the details wrong, but for the most part, I think I have pretty much nailed the Second Punic War. However, I do sympathize with Hannibal. Of course, in our own campaign, we're not going to let Hannibal run free, and I had contemplated it. However, I don't want this series to turn out to be a 100-episode series, because if I fight pretty much every setback the Roman Republic and the Roman Empire faced, it's going to take forever to reach the actual size or the maximum extent of the Roman Empire in this series. So I'm not going to let Hannibal, or anyone else pretty much reconquer Roman settlements, and that's not what you're going to be seeing in this campaign. At least you're not going to be seeing intentional setbacks. So pretty much with that, I think we are done for this episode. Just have a quick look if there's anything else that needs to be done. And we are now overly influential in the Senate. However, we can quickly resolve that by simply sending some of our characters. We can marry off another one of our characters, send some of our characters to improve the public order, perhaps in Hispania or Latium. I think Latium is more of the priority. So let's go ahead. A quick look at the ambition. So this character has good amount of ambition, so it does make sense to give her more gravitas. So does this character, so we want to improve the gravitas of this character so that her ambition plays a key role in... Meanwhile, we can even send this character to improve the public order of Latium. And with that, I think we should be back under overly influential and back into respected in the Senate. So politics seems to be fine for now. Everything else seems to be fine for now. Meanwhile, we can also have a quick look at over here. We have done everything we possibly can, so we can go ahead and end the video. Anyways, I thank you guys for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you liked the video, please like the video and don't forget to subscribe if you're interested for more such videos. Peace and love.